morning, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning into Around the NFL. My name is Matthew Hodowany, lead writer at FTFN.com, and I'm joined as always by my really, really good, close personal friend and my extraordinary co-host, Nick Gardner. Nick, how you doing today, buddy?
Good, man. I'm excited to be here, like I said last episode, and now we got some football to talk about. It was a glorious Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night games, and I'm excited. We got a lot of stuff to break down, so let's just get going here.
Absolutely. Let's leave no stone unturned here. So, like you briefly glossed over, it was the first week of the NFL, and with much anticipation, we finally got some football. I know I did not move from my couch for a solid 9 hours. My butt is still a little bit sore, but nonetheless, what were your first impressions of week one?
Knowing that there was no preseason and that they really only had, I think it was like 12 padded practices or something like that in training camp, I thought it was actually pretty good quality football. They were, obviously there's going to be penalties here and there, and there's going to be some injuries here and there. That's all natural to the game. But I thought the overall quality of the game was actually pretty good. They were precise. Their route running all looked good. The blocking was pretty good. Like everything looked pretty good. Like I was pretty content with what was going on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you kind of touched on injuries there, but there was a lot of injuries. And coming into the season, we knew that soft tissue injuries were going to be an issue. It was reported all throughout training camp. This person didn't participate. This person is limited.
Yeah.
And we really saw that kind of rear its ugly head in week one. We lost some really big names, like Marlon Mack. He is out with what seems to be an Achilles tear, so he'll be done for the season. Look for Jonathan Taylor to take over there. Michael Thomas was hurt with an ankle injury. James Conner and Le'Veon Bell were both injured as well, too. And, I mean, we knew that these injuries were going to be an issue, but damn, there was a lot. And it's really going to change how teams prepare going into week two. And like you said, without any actual, preseason, none of these players were really, geared up to tackle. None of them were really geared up to really run routes this aggressively. And, yeah, you kind of go your hardest against your own team, but it's really, really different when those lights come on and you're wearing a game jersey instead of a practice jersey. Speaking of that, when the lights come on, can any team stop Baltimore and Kansas City?
Each other. They probably both can.
Good answer.
Anybody else, it's going to be tough sledding because, listen, we're going to get into it now, I guess. The Chiefs obviously kicked off the season on Thursday night. They looked as strong as ever. They had their Super Bowl banner and the whole spiel.
And Andy Reid had that damn
face shield, but you gotta stay protected. You gotta stay protected however you gotta do it, man.
He was protected more than his neck.
Yeah, that's fair. I thought the Chiefs looked really good on Thursday night. The Texans, I don't know if they're the ultimate bar to gauge them against. They looked like they missed DeAndre Hopkins on Thursday. Their defense was okay, not great, but the Chiefs, their offense looked really, really, really good. And I'm nobody's surprised. They all expected it. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire fit in seamlessly. He carried the rock for them. I think it was 20 plus times. He had over 100 yards. He was just solid all the way through. He can catch the ball. He didn't do too much of that in this past game, but he has the ability to do that. It was just an overall very solid performance from Kansas City. And I thought their defense looked pretty good too on the back end of Tyrann Mathieu and Chris Jones up front. They both played really well, and those are their best players on defense, so they have to play up to a certain level in order for them to be a contender again. And they obviously are. So Chris Jones did a good job of getting to the quarterback. I thought their back end was solid, not fantastic, but solid. And overall, Kansas City looked pretty strong. They were showing some different schematic stuff, like people standing up, going down on the defensive line. There was a whole lot of stuff going on, different coverages and everything. So I thought they looked really good in their first game of the year.
Yeah, I mean, when Joe Burrow was coming into the NFL draft, a lot of people asked him, who's the best player on LSU, all this and all that. And his answer was always, Clyde. He is an absolute wrecking ball back there. And I found it really interesting because he's one of those shorter running backs.
Yep.
Not like a Derrick Henry. The defense has to find him first before they can actually tackle him.
Good point.
When you're running behind that huge offensive line, you kind of have to you can't react all of a sudden because you have to first find the dude and then try and go tackle him. And by the time you find him, he was all the way down the daggone field.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to touch on real quick, it was interesting to see how Tyreek Hill was kind of more of a decoy out there for at least the first half. I mean, we saw Sammy Watkins. It seemed like Mahomes' favorite target for the first 30 minutes of the game. And coming out of the second half, me and you watched the game together on Thursday. We were kind of like, yo, where's Tyreek? And I mean, I know you were stressed a little bit because you have a fantasy team and you were not you were not a very happy camper throughout that game. But coming out of the second half against, I don't want to say once teams kind of realized that Tyreek wasn't going to be targeted, but the fact that you had to worry about Sammy, again, just kind of going back to how many weapons Kansas City has. But how did you think the whole ignoring Tyreek and then going directly to him to come out of the gate the second half worked for Kansas City?
I wouldn't say – well, listen, first of all, however good Tyreek played didn't matter because I lost in fantasy anyways. Let's just put that out there, okay? Week 1, it's a long season. Anyways, I don't think it was necessarily more of, oh, we're going to use Tyreek as a decoy, or we're going to we're going to ignore Tyreek, sorry. But it's using him more to your advantage. Like, you're paying him top dollar. He's one of the best receivers in the league. Everybody knows how much of a threat he is. So why don't you send him deep a few times, or send him across the middle a few times, or run whatever routes you want to run, and let 2 or 3 players follow him or have their eyes on him, and then throw it under to your rookie running back, or throw it under to your receiver, or to another receiver like Sammy Watkins or something. Like, I don't see, or even Travis Kelce underneath. Like, I don't see a problem with Tyreek being used like that, because it is an advantage to your offense. And frankly, if you send him deep and they cover him, good for them. We're going underneath.
Yep.
And if you send him deep and they don't want to cover him, or they give him one-on-one coverage, you launch it deep. So it's kind of a win-win regardless for Kansas City, because it definitely isn't. It depends on the play call, obviously, but 99% of plays, they're not sitting there saying, Tyreek, just run deep and we don't really care what's happening. Yeah. Obviously, he's going to give at least a look. And if he's open, he's open. If he's not, he's not. And he wasn't open in the first half, and ended up with like 4 or 5 catches for, I think, about 50, 60 yards and a touchdown. So he still had a decent day. It wasn't awful by any means. It wasn't, 100, 150 yards, but with 10 catches or anything. But Tyreek Hill's never been that guy. Mm-hmm. So it's not like he is, a Michael Thomas where he's going to get 13 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown or 2. Like, he's not that kind of receiver. He might have a good game here or there, but he's mostly based on explosive plays. So that's just kind of the receiver that he is, and that's not a bad thing at all. He's very good at what he does. And that's part of the reason that the Chiefs' offense is so electric.
Yeah, speaking of electric offenses, let's move on to your Baltimore Ravens, as you guys quite easily handled the Cleveland Browns. Lamar Jackson had 3 touchdowns on the day and only 45 rushing yards. And, coming off an MVP season, a lot of people are like, the Ravens can't win if Lamar is throwing the ball, which to those critics, please kindly take a seat, because he absolutely threw the ball against that Cleveland Browns secondary. And I know you were watching this game very attentively. What did you see out of your MVP?
I love, first of all, we'll start on the defense. The defense was fantastic. There's not much to talk about there. Calais Campbell is a huge addition. Secondary was strong against 2 of the top tandem receivers in the NFL with Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. Wink Martindale did a fantastic job bringing blitzes and disguising different things. They got an interception when Calais Campbell dropped back like 5-10 yards deep. He's playing like linebacker at one point. Tipped the ball. Marlon Humphrey intercepted it, and I think it was the first or second quarter. So he did a great job disguising everything on the defensive side. To the offense. The number one thing that everybody – first of all, I should say this. The fact that the Ravens won 38-6 and put up 38 points in their season opener, and Lamar Jackson had 45 rushing yards, should make everybody else scared. Because Lamar Jackson, if he wants to, at any given point, can go for 100-plus yards rushing and change the game completely. The Ravens overall didn't run the ball that fantastic. Like, they played pretty well. I know Mark Ingram didn't have a great day. J.K. Dobbins, had a pretty good day. But they did 90% of their damage through the air and with Lamar Jackson. And he made some throws, Matt, in this game that I honestly have never really seen him make. Like, he was able to read the defense right as it happens. Like, when like Peyton Manning would play or Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, and they would just throw the ball almost before the guy was open, or the guy looks covered and then they throw him open, and making throws like that. I'm not saying he's any of those guys passing at all, but he was making throws like that. Like, I remember I think it was Mark Andrews running like kind of a deep seam, or a deep cross, I should say. And he was kind of here, like above the, I guess it was the safety or linebacker that was covering him, and he looked covered. And Lamar threw it over the linebacker to the back shoulder and got a first down. And I think it was on like 1st and 10 or something. And that was such a good throw. But the thing that I love the most about Lamar is the fact that last year it felt like he had one or two options. Like he would either go deep for whoever was running the route, or kind of check it down to his first or second option in the route pattern, or he would just take off. And he wouldn't be able to sit in the pocket and really find that true, if your first option is not open, your second option is not open, maybe your third option is open. I feel like after the second option last year, he kind of just took off. But because he's so electric,
I would agree with that.
Because he's so electric, he was able to make it work. And then you make scramble plays and all that kind of stuff. But he was really able to sit in the pocket and dissect the defense for one of the first times in his career, I think. And I'm really curious to see how that's going to be, in second, third, fourth, fifth week down the line. Because was it just, did Cleveland just not play a great game? Was Lamar just extra ready because they had the whole offseason? Like, I don't know. But it looked really, really strong. And I really, really liked what I saw from Lamar, throwing the ball especially.
Yeah. I mean, the Browns are going to Brown. I mean, You really can't. I mean, if there's any sense of normalcy in 2020, it's that the Cleveland Browns like football.
They have such a talented roster, though. I know we're going to get into them with the preview and stuff later for the Bengals, but Baker has started 30 games. He started all 30 games in the last, how long has he been in, like 3-4 years now? 3 years, I think. This is his third year because he was in the same draft as Lamar.
And Josh Allen.
In his third year, anyways, third year, and he's had 4 head coaches and 4 different OCs. Like that, there's just no chance for continuity. Like we just talked about Lamar, and this is now his third year in the same offense. Now you can understand, okay, this is my first read, this is my second read, now here's my third read, right? And now you understand if they're playing, split coverage where it's zone on one side and man on the other, or vice versa, or all man, all zone, whatever it is. You know how to get to every single option on your route tree on each given play depending on the coverage. But you can't do that if you're turning over offense every single year.
Yeah.
Baker's getting to the field and he's just trying to memorize the plays where guys are running. He doesn't even have a chance to get to his third option yet. And there's no continuity. So I know we said we're going to get into it. We kind of got into it there, but they need to find somebody. I don't know if it's Kevin Stefanski or not, but they need to find somebody to give them some continuity.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely it's not looking good for the Cleveland Browns, but I mean, going from an electric performance in Lamar Jackson to what seemed to be a pretty average one in Tom Brady in Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he capped off his opening drive as a buck with a quarterback dive up the middle for 6. And you know what? As a Bills fan, I saw a lot of Tom Brady over the past decade. I saw him beat us a lot. I'm not angry about it. I'm quite heartbroken, to be honest. But You know what? When Brady went to the Bucs, I thought, you know what? Good for him. He's walking into a system that is completely put together for him. And you have Chris Godwin and you have Mike Evans. And I can't say that I was overly impressed with his performance in week 1. I mean, I know that Mike Evans was limited because he was dealing with an injury, and he did end up hauling in a touchdown in midway through the game. But you know what? And I know that another pass that was picked off was just a complete miscommunication on Evans there. But I can't say that I was overly impressed with Tom Brady. And I know because it's week 1, we're going to completely overblow everything. And everybody would say, oh, my gosh, Cam is the second coming of Michael Vick in New England. But you know what? I think both of them played an extremely average game. Cam Newton didn't really do anything that completely blew me out of my chair. And if I'm honest, Tom Brady kind of let me down a little bit.
So I would be kind of contradicting myself if I agreed with you on that. Because I just spoke for the last however long this thing has been, 10 minutes, whatever it is, about continuity, and you got to get your second, third reads, and you got to know the offense, and you want to have people build together. And look at Lamar; he's got his third year in this offense. Tom Brady's been in this offense for like 3 months.
Yep.
Right. Like he has been with Bruce Arians since whenever he signed for like 3 months. Has had whatever I said off the top, like 12 padded practices or something like that.
Yeah, a couple of illegal workouts in Florida, and also
like
broke into somebody's house.
You guys are running in shorts and compression pants, and we're calling that practice reps. Like that's not real, right? Like we all know the reason Tom Brady, or one of the reasons Tom Brady was so good in New England, was because he had been in the office for 20 years. He literally knew it like the back of his hand.
Yep.
He had no issues. Didn't have this is all new cadence for Brady. It's a whole new routes. It's everything is new. Their route patterns, the combinations, protection, everything is different. And this is, when people are making picks on, ESPN and all these different channels, the reason they said Tampa was going to lose this game is because this is their first game together. They haven't played football together. Football is the ultimate continuity sport. You need to play it's not just about talent. It's not like the NBA where you can just throw guys together and get it going. Even like LeBron in the NBA, it took him a year. He had to lose to Dallas in that first year when he went to Miami. He had to lose to Dallas and then come back the next year and build that continuity. Basketball, you can get it and win a few games. You can win 10, 15 games in a row, really, if you are that talented. But when it comes to the playoffs in basketball, you need to have continuity. And that's every game in football. You need to have continuity to win games in the NFL. Not just, there's not 82 games, not all these times you're going to be playing back-to-backs and getting all these reps. It's one game every week for 17 weeks, except for 1 week in the bye week. So you need to have continuity. So to say if there's cause for concern or Tom Brady let me down, yeah, he kind of let me down. He didn't have a great game. He threw more interceptions than I've seen him throw in a while.
Yep.
The one in with Mike Evans, it looked like Evans was running a curl. He should have been running a post or something that type of stuff is just miscommunication. You know what I mean? And the Saints, after all, people are saying the Bucs are going to go 9-7. They're not even good. Yada yada yada. Just hold on a second. Let's just hold on a second. We also need to understand that the New Orleans Saints are the epitome of continuity, and they're one of the best teams in the NFL anyways. So they probably should have won this game. If they didn't win this game, I think it would have said more about the New Orleans Saints than it would have said about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, and I think it was 34-24, they lost by 10 points. I know it wasn't beautiful. Let's just relax. Everybody just take a deep breath.
Yeah, and I mean, it could have been more. Alvin Kamara had a touchdown called back after he stepped in. Alvin Kamara played a really incredible game, and I like, to your point, how you said it would speak volume more about the Saints than it would the Bucs. And I mean, New Orleans was the favorite, and for good reason.
For good reason, yeah.
I know we've been hammering this word so far throughout this episode, but continuity. I mean, Drew Brees, and has just been he's almost older than dirt in Louisiana. There,
yeah,
he knows everything that's going on in that building. He knows who's washing his jersey. He knows who is cleaning the lunchroom table.
He is definitely the model of consistency there.
Exactly, and we don't have that. And when you're walking into a brand new system, and with Brady in Tampa Bay, you're obviously going to have those miscues. But I think there's no cause for concern here. But it's definitely not the Tom Brady that we're used to seeing. And I think because it is overhyped Tuesday for us here, everybody's going to be saying, "Oh, Bill Belichick, paved the way for Brady," and it's Bill Belichick. It's not Tom Brady, but it's too easy. It's too early to tell.
Yeah, talk to me in December, and then we'll see where we're at with Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say about the Bucs before we move on here, their front seven is very good. They have arguably the best linebacking duo in the NFL. With I know Shaquille Barrett, he's great, and he led the NFL in sacks last year, but Devin White and Levante David are arguably the best linebacking duo in the NFL, and their front seven is forceful. And Alvin, I know you said he had a great game. He didn't do squat running the ball. He made all of his money, or his contract that he just signed, he made all that money in his game check through the air. The one thing that concerns me about Tampa Bay, and we're going to move on here, is their defensive backfield. I don't know, outside of Antoine Winfield Jr., who's very good. I really like what I saw from him. He can come up in the box and play D. He can do everything at safety. Kind of reminds me of Jamal Adams. But I love him. The three other guys around him, I don't love. I don't love them. They're young, so I'm not gonna, they're young and they're unproven. And if the Bucs want to get to where they actually want to be, where Tom Brady wants to be, they are going to have to play extremely well, because they're going to see some potent offenses down the stretch in the regular season and into the playoffs especially.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we keep saying we got to move on here because we got to do, but before we do, I want to say that Devin White reminds me a lot of that chained up dog ball thing from Super Mario, where he just locks himself at everything.
He is a dog in every sense of the term.
He does not care about his body. He doesn't care.
Yeah. He flies to the ball. He is a very, very good linebacker.
All right, we'll actually move on here. And when we were putting together our topics for the show here, Nick was saying, we got to talk about Russell Wilson. We got to talk about Russell Wilson. Yep. And he actually hijacked the Google Doc. And he's like, we are talking about Russell Wilson. So the floor is yours. Go ahead.
So for all of you, if you don't know, obviously the Seahawks played in Atlanta this past Sunday. It was a 1 o'clock game. Might have got stuck in the shuffle. I said on the last episode that it was my game to watch, my most exciting game of the weekend, and they did not disappoint. On Atlanta's side of the ball, Matt Ryan threw for 450 yards. Like 3 receivers had over 100 yards. Julio had like 157 on like 10 catches or something ridiculous. Calvin Ridley played really, really well as well. So did Russell Gage. But Seattle and Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was 31 of 35 for 322 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, we all know Seattle. The most recent thought of Seattle is obviously the Legion of Boom and their great defense, and Russell Wilson's serviceable. He's a game manager. He's going to hand the ball off Marshawn Lynch or even Chris Carson in more recent years. And they're going to pound you, and they're going to be 10-6, 11-5. They're going to be a hard out in the playoffs. Russell Wilson has officially taken Seattle to that next level. He is my pick for MVP, I think. And it's because he has the best supporting cast of his career. They were like that with, like I just explained, with the defense and running the ball because they had no receivers. They had nobody they could really throw the ball to. Right? Like they tried a little thing with Percy Harvin one year. It wasn't great. I remember they had like Paul Richardson. They had Doug Baldwin for a lot of years. He was solid, but not great.
Yeah, Tyler
Lockett.
They have right now.
Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, who's a freak. Greg Olsen, who I love. Chris Carson was catching the ball out of the backfield. Will Dissly's there at tight end. Like, they have a lot of options for Russell Wilson now. And I love what I'm seeing from him. Just being able to drop back, create plays. He has a cannon for an arm, and he's just like Lamar. He's very, very elusive. He makes the right play every single time. And he is arguably the hardest guy to get off the field, I think, on 3 downs. Like, he just always makes positive plays for his defense unless you make a stellar play on the defensive end. So I love Seattle. They won, I think it was like 35-21 or something. And one of those touchdowns for Atlanta was garbage time, or maybe 28, one of those two. But yeah, I love the Seahawks. If they can have a solid defense that can hold teams to, 20 points or under, I think Russell Wilson's going to have a fantastic year.
It's hard to disagree with you there. I mean, Russell Wilson has been in the MVP conversation almost every single year. And the things they're doing in Seattle with Chris Carson is just, it's going to be hard for them to be stopped as well, too. And before we get over to the Arizona and San Francisco game, man, I gotta do my best Stephen A. Smith impression here.
Oh, man.
Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. Oh, my goodness. 364 yards and 4 touchdowns. I know that Jordan Love is on the sideline with that clipboard and that headset thinking, oh, man, I'm not touching the field for a while.
Listen, this is why everybody was so surprised when they took Love in the first place. Because Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers.
He's a bad
man. Bad man. Like, that dude, some of the throws that he made in that game, and I was watching it, honestly, mainly for fantasy purposes because I had Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and you know who I was going against? Devontae Adams, who had 40 points in fantasy, in PPR. But regardless of the conversation, Aaron Rodgers, he was like a dog owner to a very well-trained dog. Like, whatever he wanted to do, there.
Yep.
There. Like, just throwing lasers across the field, wherever he wanted, however he wanted. Like, I remember there was one play where he rolled out of the pocket to his right, and I think it was probably from like 25 or 30-yard line, and just threw an absolute missile right across the top of the pylon, and Devontae was just on the corner. Thank you. Touchdown.
An absolute frozen rope.
It was just unbelievable, the stuff that this guy was doing. He was making the Vikings defense look like they didn't know how to play football. Like, he was honestly just slicing and dicing them. 364 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like you said it. He was just like, this is a very popular take in sports media right now. Like, he was just, oh, was he ever? Like, he was just all over the place doing literally whatever he wanted.
He looked like, when you see like those old Western movies and the sheriff walks into town, he's got like the quick draw.
Yep.
It was Aaron Rodgers out the pocket. He
Yep.
was just letting it fly. It looked like he was playing in Denver. Like the ball was made of helium because he was just letting that thing
flicking it. He was absolutely flicking it.
Absolutely.
And I know he has a strong arm, but he was just ripping it wherever, however he wanted. Like I remember he threw a really nice dime down the field to Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like it was just you couldn't walk it down there any better.
If I could make a video, a ringtone, so I could hear it every single day, I could do that, bro.
It was. Oh, he was remarkable. He truly, in every sense of the word, was remarkable. And the hot take, or not the hot take, the obvious take that's been going around in sport media is that he's on a revenge tour. And
yeah,
like literally, he is making the Green Bay front office look like a bunch of front office, look like a bunch of fools right now because they should have drafted a receiver in the first round and they would have been on their way to at least the playoffs.
Yeah, he's making that front office look like a bunch of stooges out there. And speaking of stooges, we got to talk about good old Billy O'Brien and dealing away DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, good Lord.
Just
oh, good Lord.
And how he performed with Cliff Kingsbury in the Arizona Cardinals offense. And Kyler Murray, he was making every good decision there, passing the ball open, running the ball when he was open. And he walked into that locker room before the game, put a platter in front of DeAndre Hopkins. He was just like, this will be full by the end of the game because you are going to be eating, my friend.
Yep. You took the words out of my mouth. So we talked about a lot. Like I'm not going to get into the DeAndre Hopkins trade because that's been well documented. Although David Johnson did look pretty good with the Texans, but regardless, you saw what DeAndre Hopkins can do now. Like first of all, the air raid offense was pretty remarkable. Like I liked what I saw. Their quick passes to the outside, passes down the field. Kyler Murray was making. Kyler Murray reminds me of a younger Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Like he in that game, it just seemed like he made every single play. He made the right decision. He threw the ball when he had to. He ran the ball when he had to. He ran it like 10 or 14 times or something. I think he got hit once. Like he slid every time. He's a baseball player, so he knows how to slide. Like he just – it was like the game was just in the palm of his hand, and he was just doing whatever he wanted with it.
It looked like he was playing Madden on rookie mode.
Pretty much. Like it really did. And I know it was a competitive game in San Francisco, but this is also – and this is why I'm so impressed right now is because San Francisco was by far the best defense last year.
Yep.
They were fantastic last year, and they lost Eric Arms. I think it was Eric. No, DeForest Buckner, excuse me.
Yep.
But they drafted Javon Kinlaw, so it's not like they really – I know they lost a little bit, but, for the most part, they were back in full shape, ready to go, at home. Revenge tours on the way because they lost in the Super Bowl, yada, yada, yada. And little 5'11", 5'10" Kyler Murray comes scampering in with his new 6'3" DeAndre Hopkins target and this Cliff Kingsbury, 32-year-old head coach who shouldn't even be a head coach that is a head coach offense. And I said it last time on the show, like I wanted to see what Arizona was made out of. Like here, I said it last time, like they have this air raid offense, they have DeAndre Hopkins, they have Kyler Murray who's going to be offensive player of the year or MVP, yada, yada, yada. I said it last time on the episode. Go back on the Fan to Fan Network if you want to see me rant on it really quick. But they proved it to me. Like they proved it to me. They played fantastic, and I like the veteran leadership that Larry Fitzgerald still gives them, and he's still playing. Like he's still very serviceable. They have weapons there. Like I really, really, really enjoyed what I saw out of Arizona. I thought they played a full 60-minute game, and they were down 10-0. They blocked a punt, and that turned the momentum for them. I know Raheem Mostert broke off like a 75-yard run. That was actually Isaiah Simmons' coverage that he got stuck on a simple angle route, which shouldn't happen, but trying to make a play, I guess. But outside of that, like you take away that touchdown, that's what, 14 points for San Francisco, or 13 points for San Francisco. So that really would have been like a 24-13 win. So and then late in the fourth quarter, or not late, but in the middle of the fourth quarter, they had to drive down when they were down. They scored a touchdown, and DeAndre Hopkins, career high 16 targets, career high 14 catches. Like I'm going to be watching Arizona this year. I really like what I see out of them. That NFC West is just, oh my God. Like Seattle, San Francisco, Arizona, the Rams had a good showing against Dallas. Like, whew, wow.
I want to get to our hero and zero segment here so we can wrap up the recap part of the week. But so what we do here is we pick a player or a hero who we thought performed really, really well. And then our zero, who might not be on the team next week. So
Oh, wow.
I know your pick, and I know that was very aggressive, but mine, I think it's got some reasoning behind it. So my hero of the week was Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills. First Buffalo Bills quarterback to throw for over 300 yards since Kyle Orton.
Really?
Kyle Orton.
Is that Josh Allen's first career 300-yard passing game?
First 300-yard passing game.
Wow.
I remember that Kyle Orton game. I remember I think he was the Denver Broncos. He ripped them up, got to the sideline after the game, pulled out a nice can of chew, and threw a hammer in walking off to the dressing room. But getting back to Josh Allen, 300 yards passing through the air and 2 touchdowns. He did have 2 fumbles on the day as well too, which made me quite sick to my stomach. But
classic Josh Allen.
Yeah, the New Jersey Jets stink, and I'm not even going to call them the New York Jets because they don't deserve that name. They are absolutely terrible. Wow. And my zero of the week, it's got to be old Randy Bullock of the Cincinnati Bengals.
You had to go there.
Yeah.
Couldn't let him sit in peace.
No. And after that performance that Joe Burrow had, very, very respectable outing. Didn't do anything that really, knocked my socks off, but come to the.
Hey, he gave him a chance to win, or he did give him a chance to win.
Yep, that old Randy Bullock trots out on the field and just didn't even sniff the goalpost.
That is just unbelievable. And I guess as a Ravens fan, I have become accustomed to Justin Tucker. And I just expect greatness out of my kicker. But when that is literally a chip shot.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it was under 30 yards or just a touch over if it was. Under 35.
That's not even a pitching wedge. That's a 50 degree.
That's not even that's not even a PAT attempt.
Yep.
And all you got to do is knock it through the uprights.
And I think it was
this guy pulls his calf.
I think it was a pro move that he knew he lost the kick. And I love how he grabbed his right calf after he shanked the kick. And then the injury report said that his left calf was hurt. So, we're speaking about continuity all day. There was none there. Oh,
my God. I don't know what happened there. That was just – I literally bursted out laughing. I bursted out laughing. I felt so bad for Joe Burrow. Oh, my God.
I love the picture of Joe Burrow after the game where he's just like, oh, yep.
Brother, this ain't LSU anymore.
Cincinnati Bengal.
Oh, God. Anyways, to my hero and zeros here, we'll go – I guess this episode I just have a thing for 5'11" quarterbacks because my heroes –
That's why we're such good friends because I'm 5'11".
It may be. Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray, I had to take both of them because they both play fantastic. I went into the spiels about them before, so I won't bore you guys again. But Russell Wilson and Kyler just look like they're playing with the game in the palm of their hands. They made all the right decisions. They ran when they had to. They threw when they had to. They have really good skill positions around them. They have pretty good offensive lines. They both played fantastic. They both got big wins. Russell Wilson did it more stat-wise. Kyler did more what he had to do to win. 4-point win over the defending NFC champions. Seattle won in a little bit of a shootout, a little bit of a runaway, whatever you want to call it. And my zero, we're from Canada, both of us. We're both from Toronto. If you guys don't know, watching, if you're down south or also in Canada, whatever it is.
I don't think we've said a lot today, so I don't know if that's.
We haven't, yes. And as you can see, we don't live in igloos. There are just
my polar bear is warming up.
There are 2 teams, if you're usually from Toronto or Canada, wherever, that you're like, you know what? We're geographically close to them, so I'm going to like them. One of them is the Buffalo Bills. That's why I think you're a fan.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Precisely, sure. Whatever that means. And the other team is the Detroit Lions. And for obvious reasons, it is so difficult to be a Detroit Lions fan. Reason number, whatever number you want to put on it. So they're playing the Chicago Bears. And I said last week that they should start, or I think it was 2 weeks ago when we did our first episode, kind of a practice run, that they should start Nick Foles over Mitch Trubisky. And for 3/4 of that game, I looked right. Because Mitch Trubisky was not playing well
He's a tall man, but for a whole different reason.
At all. Yes, precisely. At all. He was playing poorly. And he turned it on in the 4th quarter. Credit to him. But Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions had a chance to win that game. So my 0 goes to the fantastic running back out of Georgia, who I still think is very good, but needs to get on the jug machine, DeAndre Swift. They had a chance to win that game with, I think it was under a minute. I don't know the exact situation.
I think it was 36 seconds left. When you think.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want to call it. They were on like the 10 or 15-yard line. Stafford throws an absolute dime right into DeAndre Swift's hands. He literally just has to catch the ball. Just catch the ball. He's already pretty much in the end zone. He had to catch the ball, and Lions win. Yay. Drops it. Like, I don't know if there's anybody I feel worse for in the NFL than Matthew Stafford.
If he can come back.
He is so talented.
If he can come back from a broken back, DeAndre Swift, you can catch that football.
He battles so much. He's always hurt, like you said. He battles. He's so talented. He's got all right weapons around him. But it's just blah. Like, the Detroit Lions are just blah. Like, they're
the color gray.
I like the color gray, though. Like, they're just I don't even have the words to put it into perspective. Like, you just need to watch a Lions season. Not a game, because they might have a good game here and there. Like, you just need to watch like a year or two trend of the Detroit Lions.
It's
like they went 9-7 with Jim Caldwell as their head coach. They fired him, hired Matt Patricia, and he is like, I want to say like 10 or 15 games under 500.
I link being a Detroit Lions fan to a season of The Office. You know, you have some moments where, you know, like, oh, this is going pretty well.
Yeah.
And then Michael will say something that's super, super cringy, and you're like,
yeah,
I gotta turn this off.
Yeah. I feel bad. I feel bad for them. We're
gonna move on here to get to our Browns and Bengals preview. And I mean, I really don't think we gotta preview this. I think, you know, Bengals are gonna Bengal and Browns are gonna Browns. So anything else?
Well, I like what I'll go into it since you know, clearly we're not trying to give the fans anything to listen to.
I mean, we've been for a little while already. We got our underdog picks to get to. We got our most entertaining games.
That's true. But, I'll go through this somewhat quickly then. If I had to make a pick, I still think the Browns are going to win this game because they're just so talented. Mm-hmm. I thought Joe Burrow looked all right in his debut. I didn't think he was fantastic. I didn't think he was awful. He averaged like 8 yards a pass, which wasn't anything to write home about.
Rushing touchdown, no passing touchdown.
Yeah. The rushing touchdown was nice. It wasn't, again, anything to write home about. I thought it was nice.
Yeah.
But they have more weapons, so I'd like to see Joe Burrow push the ball down the field a little bit more. Cleveland has a secondary to do that against because they don't have much of a secondary. But then again, they also have Myles Garrett coming off the edge and a pretty stout front seven. So I don't know how much time Joe Burrow's going to have in the pocket. But I would expect the Cleveland offense to look a lot better. Cincinnati's actually got a pretty underrated defense. Like, I think their defense is pretty good.
I don't know if Geno Atkins will be playing this week.
Okay, that's a good note. Yeah, that's a good note. But Odell Beckham's not going to have 3 catches on 10 targets again.
Yeah,
I just think like the Ravens are one of the better teams in the NFL, if not the best team in the NFL. And that was a walloping, but I don't think the Browns are going to come back out and look like that again. They have a quick turnaround. I know they were a little bit banged up, but I would expect the skill positions of the Browns to have a pretty big day against Cincinnati.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you know, we've been waiting for Cleveland to get going for so long now. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I like you said, I don't think OBJ has 3 catches on 10 targets ever again. He only had 22 yards on the day, which is you know, for it's just embarrassing for that Stefanski offense. But moving along here to some more previews for the most entertaining game of the week. You know, we're dumping on the Lions, but I'm gonna pick them. I'm gonna pick them and the Packers as both my most entertaining game and my underdog game.
Okay.
I like what I saw from the Lions in the first week, aside from that, you know, DeAndre Swift complete dismantlement. But they get a lot of pieces back this week. I mean, they're supposed to get Jeff Okudah back this week, and they should be getting Kenny Golladay back, who, in my opinion, is a top 5 wide receiver in the league. And
wow.
I will pull up.
Are you serious?
100%.
Oh my God. I don't want to flame you on this thing, but I think I should.
I think we're real heavy on this one. I think we have to do a whole another episode.
Yeah, you might want to retract that statement before people start flaming you in the comments, because that hold on a second. Pump the brakes. Because he's not better than DeAndre Hopkins. He's not better than Michael Thomas. He's not better than Tyreek Hill.
Julio Kenny.
Somebody keep going. He's not better than Julio.
No, yeah, Julio and then Kenny. I said top 5. He's 5th. Anyways, so
He's a
yeah.
better receiver than Devontae Adams.
Okay. But if you give me a healthy Matthew Stafford who's throwing lasers to Kenny Galladay,
is he better than Mike Evans?
yes.
Is he better than Adam Thielen?
Yes. That's why I traded you Adam Thielen for Kenny Galladay.
Oh boy.
All right, let me move on here. So yeah, I picked that game as my most entertaining game of the week. I mean, we saw that Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to say it again, but he's a bad man going up against that Lions secondary. I don't think that Detroit is going to win. I don't think Detroit's going to win, but I think it's going to be a little closer than most people might anticipate. And I also think it's just going to be an overall great game to watch, especially because of the rivalry that both of those teams have.
Mm-hmm. So my most entertaining game of the week is going to be Sunday Night Football, Seahawks and Patriots. There's a lot going on there. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's the first time that they've met since the Super Bowl that year with Malcolm Butler. I might be wrong on that, but that's the last one I can remember. I want to see what Bill Belichick does to stop Russell Wilson, because I've been going on for the last over half an hour, or however long this thing has been, on how good Russell Wilson is. He's going to be my MVP. I expect them to win this game. They're going to be good. Russell Wilson's going to be good, but I'm curious to see how Bill Belichick matches up against Russell Wilson. Does he decide to bring a lot of pressure? Does he decide to spy? Does he decide to play coverage? Because they also lost like 5 or 6 pieces to the opt-out on their defense between injuries and opting out for COVID. So they don't have Dante Hightower. They don't have Jamie Collins. They don't have Patrick Chung. They lost a lot of people on Stephon Gilmore, on Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf, because Tyler Lockett's kind of a quick little bugger. I don't know if you want to put Stephon Gilmore on him, or would you rather put him on DK Metcalf and kind of neutralize him completely? I'm curious. I'd like to see what Bill Belichick does with against Seattle, and then Cam Newton. Like, I just want to see more Cam Newton. Cam Newton is. You said he played average. I thought he played pretty good in week 1. Like they played against Miami. They didn't have to throw the whole bag to get the win. Like they didn't have to throw out their whole playbook, I should say, to get the win. But I want to see more Cam Newton. Cam Newton in primetime, dancing, hollering, doing the whole Cam Newton thing. Like, I just love it. So I want to see more of that. And this is his first kind of like, okay, Cam, you're back in the league. Congratulations. You're on this revenge tour, supposedly. Your Instagram's going crazy. Like, you want everybody to start respecting you. So beat Russell Wilson on Sunday Night Football. Like, show me that you're back, right? Show me that you are Cam Newton of 2015, 2016. Show me.
I fully agree with that.
Right? And Bill Belichick, is it Belichick or Brady? Drop something nice for Cam Newton. Him and Belichick and Josh McDaniels will pull up a nice little playbook, I think. And I'm very excited. Like, I want to see the Seahawks defense is good. It's not great. It's pretty good.
Better than the Dolphins.
Much better than the Dolphins. Yes, exactly. So I want to see more Cam Newton. Week 1 was pretty good. It was all right. Got the win. It was pretty, it's good. Now, okay, let's take it up a notch. Here we go. Like, now we're getting into the NFL now, like into the full season. Mm-hmm. So let's see what's happening there. So I'm really excited to see what's going on with that. And to end it off, my underdog pick is Vikings over Colts. So the Colts are favored by 3. I'm going to take the Vikings plus 3.
Colts looked bad last week, man.
Yeah, the Colts, that was an ugly game. I don't love Phillip Rivers. I really don't. On paper, he's good. As soon as he steps on the field, I just changed my opinion completely.
He was throwing some reckless balls out there. A lot of back foot throws. A lot of. I think he was really used to having Keenan Allen in with the Chargers.
LA. Yep.
Yeah, I think he missed them. I mean, yep. I know you got T.Y. Hilton there, but he didn't really target Hilton all game. And you lost Marlon Mack with that Achilles injury. It's going to be Jonathan Taylor, and Nyheim Hines had 2 touchdowns in the game, and a lot of people were really not expecting that. But I gotta say, man, I'm nervous about. And you lost to the Jaguars.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
And proof comment, you lost to the Jags.
Yeah. And I think one of the more important things of that game was the fact that Minshew went 19 of 20.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of success running the ball against the Colts. And if you thought that was tough, like, look who's coming to town now, Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
And Alexander Madison, that are going to run it down your throat.
Yep.
And then I think Kirk Cousins, he didn't have a great game against Green Bay. I get it. Like, first half was ugly. I'm going to be honest with you. But I think he's going to have a decent game, and I think Adam Thielen can get some work against the Colts. And I don't know. That's a tough match. I don't love the Colts. I did it first on paper, and I after what I saw against the Jaguars, and I don't want to be an overreaction kind of guy, but I like the Vikings in this game. I think they're going to run the ball well. I think they're going to play good enough defense. They have a pretty good pass rush to get to Phillip Rivers, who's obviously not mobile. I know the Colts. The one thing I really like about the Colts is they have a lot of skill positions that they can throw the ball to or run the ball with Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines in the backfield. So that would keep them in this game, I think. I think they're going to score a good amount of points, but I like the Vikings. I think the Vikings offense is going to have a good day against Indianapolis.
Yeah, I don't find anybody who would disagree with you. And I mean, the Vikings put up a good amount of points on the Packers too. And the Packers and the Colts are the Colts. But circling back to your point about the run game, I mean, you got Quentin Nelson on that line there.
Mm-hmm.
That guy, he eats pancakes in the middle of the game.
Yep.
Like he is a bulldozer out there. And they just really couldn't get the run game going last week. I mean, he had those touchdowns because of the pass game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's hard not to hammer the Vikings on this one. So.
Yeah, I really like them +3. I take the money line on them too, to be honest with you. Like, I think they're going to win the game.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, Phillip Rivers is just looking a little too reckless with the ball, but I mean, we'll see. And on that note, man, thanks. That's the show. If you guys like this video, click like. If you really like it, click subscribe. Tell all your friends. We're here every single Tuesday. Follow us on Twitter. He's at Gardner_Nick. I'm at the Hodowany. Don't judge me. I was in grade 9. Follow us on Twitter at FTFN Network, twitch.tv/FTFN. And obviously you're watching this on YouTube, so go back and watch Nick's rants and watch me be wrong about some other stuff. So thank you for joining us, guys. We'll see you guys next week.